Hey guys, Patrick Donovan from eXp Realty, part of the Johnson Group, here with Brandon Gieber from Next Move Realty. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. We're supposed to have two guests. Internet issues, another other kind of issue. So that's why me and Brandon are going to take over for the night. We don't need no guests.
No guests, but we love them.
We do love them. We will try to get them on the next time. To Josh, thank you for getting on. Oh, well, Tommy's back. We'll get him in here as soon as we can. But let's get started. Today we're going to be talking about the housing emergency that was declared by the Trump administration and what their plans are. If you haven't heard about this, it's kind of blowing my mind a little bit because it's just blowing my mind, and I can't wait to talk about it. If you're here live on the video, please comment in the comments, and Brandon's got your back on that one. And it looks like we got Tommy in the lobby. Hopefully he looks frozen and angry. See, his internet is angry for some reason. I don't know.
He's so nice. He's so funny. He's not angry. He's so nice.
Yeah. But first, we're going to go through the Richmond Hill numbers because the new numbers are just out. It just came out on the 1st. So we got August's numbers, and I mean, no surprise, numbers are, kind of going down in a lot of places. So, and that's kind of been the trend going on here. So I'm super excited to share that with you. Let's actually just start out with the market stats. What do you think, Brandon? What?
It's 8 o'clock.
Let's do it. All right, there we go. Okay, so we've got the Richmond Hill stats we're going to go over. As you can see, all three of the other stats are right there, but we're going to focus on Richmond Hill. So Richmond Hill is $422,500 is a median home sales price. As you can see, that is which one is the month over month is down in Richmond Hill. So as you can see, for the past 2 months, it's been dropping, and then also year over year. So home prices are dropping. New listings, 105 new listings in August. It's up by 3%. And then we got homes for sale, 399 up by almost 34%. And then, so we got homes coming to the market, homes for sale up. Closed sales, where we at? Down 76. We're down by 7%. What about days on market? This one's going to blow your face off. Boom, right there. Blowing faces off. 97 days on the market, up by 40%. Unbelievable. I'm going to show you months supply. I don't normally do the months of supply, but I'm going to show you the months of the supply there. Tommy's in here again. I got you, Tommy. But the month supply, as you can see, we're getting, if you hit the 6-month mark, that's a balanced market. But I'll tell you right now, and tell me what you feel like, Brandon. Do you feel like sellers are operating like it's a balanced market right now?
Not yet. Not at all. No, they're still riding the coattails, but the coattails are gone.
They're gone. If you didn't, we're saying this, if you haven't sold your house a few months ago, then you're gonna have a hard time. We see that in our neighborhood of Rice Hope. I mean, like the homes are on the market going against D.R. Horton homes and against the economy, and they're having a hard time selling. They're ended up being rented. So, and then we're gonna go to.
It's gonna be fun. It's not a hard time. It's gonna be fun. It's not gonna be a hard time. It's gonna be fun.
Well, the good thing is we got Tommy on here to discuss all the D.R. Horton stuff, so that's gonna be interesting. But then also price per square foot, median price per square foot, $196, up by 2%. So that is what's going on in the market. Now let's go to. I'm gonna bring Tommy on here. What's up, buddy? You think the internet's gonna hold out? I'm hoping.
I'm hoping so. We're about to find out. My computer skills are minimal, but I can make it happen. We're about to find out, though.
I was gonna wear this shirt for you, but I didn't put it on because you weren't here.
Well, thank you.
It's got mullets on it.
Oh, very nice.
The dude that you do.
I need to get one of those in 6T, if you can find one. That's for little kids. My son will be so excited to wear that shirt.
Oh yeah, he's got the mullet, right?
Yeah, he's big in
Love it. He's looking great in that mullet. Love it.
We're bringing it back.
Oh, I love that.
Can you tell everybody, give us a little bit about yourself before we go forward?
Absolutely. So, hey, I'm Tommy. I work with D.R. Horton. I've been with D.R. Horton for 5 years, and I've been selling new construction homes for 7 years now. So I've been around for just a little bit of time, not too long, but long enough to have seen a few of the incredibly fun scenarios that Brandon was just discussing. So we have a lot of great options, and they come in at different price points, which makes it very, very easy to kind of come in and figure out what it is that you need when you're out there looking, because it is crazy market right now. Everything is sitting out there a little bit longer, and a lot of folks are just unaware, or not necessarily unaware, but scared because of just the many different things that are out there in the world right now. People are thinking, I don't know, is this a good time? What should I even do?
Right. People are like running to gold and silver. Like they're like, sell everything. I'm going to go buy gold. I don't know what's happening. So yeah, no, great. Say what?
Where do I buy gold?
Interwebs. I was looking it up today. I've been watching all this financial stuff, and I'm like, screw this. I'm getting out of my 401ks, out of all that stuff, selling it all, buying gold. I'm done with this. Of course, I don't know if my wife would like that.
He was. That's accurate. That's very accurate.
Too much
I have always wanted the Scrooge McDuck tower full of coins, so I mean that would be wonderful.
I never understood him swimming in the gold. He made it look so comfortable. He'd just jump off the diving board right into the gold and like just swim around.
It's gold.
And of course, if you're watching, I want to say thank you for coming on. If you're watching, comment, like the video. Don't forget and share it with your friend. We're going to be talking about something that's really big deal right now around the country. I mean, we saw countless articles about this national housing crisis declared by the Trump administration. So we're going to go check that out right now. So Trump considers declaring a national housing emergency this fall. And this is a article from realtor.com. Like I said, you can look this up and there's 1,000 articles on this. So you can read it yourself. Also, if you didn't get a chance to see the stats we did for Richmond Hill, it's streaming down below. So if you have any questions, obviously you can hit me up. So, all right, Tom, are you ready for this?
I think I'm ready.
Brandon, you ready?
I got you. I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. All right. So the Trump administration is considering emergency measures to address the housing affordability crisis that have left millions struggling to pay rent and priced out of home ownership. Secretary Scott Bessent said Monday, we may declare a national housing emergency in the fall. Bessent told the Washington Examiner, we're trying to figure out what we can do. We don't want to step into the business of states, counties, and municipality governments. Bessent declined to list any specific actions under consideration by the president, but said that administration officials are studying ways to decrease closing costs, which I don't know what they're going to do, and nationally standardize the local patchwork of building and zoning codes. So, Tommy, with the administration talking about a possible national housing emergency and looking at things that like reducing closing costs and standardizing zoning codes, do you think those kinds of federal actions would actually make housing more affordable in local markets like Savannah, or could it end up creating more complications?
That's a very good question. Certainly, that could go either way, but reducing closing costs is one particularly big factor that does help people with buying homes, and that's really one of the big incentives that at D.R. Horton we typically offer that really will help folks who maybe are right on the border of being able to buy a home get there. So sometimes having some of those things reduced, and certainly if we can get some standardized codes across the board. And really standardize a little bit more of those fees, because it is amazing how in our different areas that we build and how varied the fees can be. That would allow us to perhaps pass along a little bit more savings too. So I would be interested to see how they could implement those things, but if they could figure it out, it seems like something that would in fact be very beneficial for a lot of buyers. Sure.
Well, you guys definitely do have the ways to stimulate buyers in your D.R. Horton land, because you're doing all the stuff that needs to happen, right? Reducing interest rates and you guys are covering all the closing costs. Brandon, what do you think?
Sponsored by D.R. Horton. No, I definitely agree. The reducing of the closing costs would be great for people who they might not know what it entails, so they're not prepared. But like first-time home buyers, for sure. But I think that everything is localized, so it's going to be more of like what works best in your market, and what's best in Savannah is not going to be best in New York or California, where everything's so different. We're just going to kind of create more red tape for the development. It's going to feel like it's going to make the development stuff a lot more costly for the builders and create like a lot more problems for them. So, I mean,
I think for the cities too. I mean, if you're talking about Port Wentworth, like you're talking to Tommy, you said that the zoning codes are different from place to place. So you're talking about like Guyton to Port Wentworth to Savannah. Is that what you're kind of talking about?
Right.
Tommy? I think are you frozen again, Tommy?
His name is Tom.
Oh, sorry, I can only hear a little bit. There it goes.
I was just saying, like, when you're talking about the different zoning areas, are you talking about like difference between Savannah, Port Wentworth, Guyton, and that kind of stuff, where the fees are different?
Laura,
Exactly.
Hey girl.
Effingham County, Chatham County. Certainly add that city of Savannah layer in there, and yeah, that it does make a difference because each of them do look for different things, and because of that, our builders themselves, we typically don't even move them around too much from different places, just because they get used to those specific codes, and all of a sudden you start swapping guys around, and we start failing things because they're used to how it's done in Effingham as opposed to Fort Wentworth. Fort Wentworth has this really interesting way that they like to do things, where they feel they need 8 million outlets everywhere. So every now and then we'll sadly fail these electrical and have 8 outlets in one room. So as the municipalities make their adjustments and kind of change over time, that helps us to kind of color in and see where we can be efficient, because as you guys know, our biggest key is our efficiency and getting things done quickly. So it's knowing those little nuances that every place has that allows us to move forward. And of course, when we fail things, obviously that means we have to pay for new inspection.
So it raises the prices. So you're saying if they did streamline, it sounds like you're kind of in agreement. If they streamlined everything, then there wouldn't be this redundancy to learn different codes at different places. Is that what you're kind of saying?
I would think that would be the case, right? And then, of course, everyone just wants to learn, kind of one method. So ideally, that means that everyone is able to, just hit that benchmark of making sure that everything is the same, right? Sadly, as people, we're always going to do the limit that we have to, right? So if the municipalities all agreed to basic limits, right, that means that every building and every home is going to be built to the same standards.
Gotcha. Okay. I like that. All right. I'm glad we had you on there, because I was telling you right now, before you were on here, I was like, screw the police. But it sounds like you might have a good point. Hey, Laura Horosky, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you.
Wow.
And coming, if you want to mess with Tommy, he's here to get the ribbons.
Love it. Okay, so in a separate Labor Day interview with Reuters, Bassett said that solving the housing affordability crisis was an all-hands-on-deck challenge for the Trump administration. Spokespersons of the White House and the Treasury Department did not immediately respond to questions from Realtor.com, shocker, about the declaration of national housing emergency, might entail. Talks of the emergency measures come at a time when Americans face deep struggles at affording housing. That's not good. Relative to income, home affordability in a 40-year low. That's not good either. Nearly half of the renters of the households are burdened with 30%. That's stressful. Like 30% of their income is in rent. Like, that's crazy. However, any federal attempt to tackling the housing crisis will have to face the harsh realities that most of the key policies that influences the housing supply are set at a state of local levels. That makes sense, though, right? Everything's low, right? So,
Yeah.
so Tommy, I would love your intake on this. With affordability at a 40-year low, and nearly half of the renters spending 30% of the income on rent, do you think the federal government can realistically make a difference here, or is this ultimately an issue that could be solved like locally?
Well, that is certainly the tricky question, right? And that would be that's the $30 answer. It'd be nice if it was super simple and the federal government could just snap their fingers. But I would say that because everywhere is different, right? Like building codes, it's a little bit more reasonable for them to be standard. We all can agree that, right, we want the faucets to pour out water. But everywhere is different in the way that the markets are. So I would say that certainly should be something that would be best left to the local level, because the difference between New York City, right, and Savannah, Georgia, which is a city, as far as I'm concerned. I've lived here my whole life, but I have in fact been to New York City, and I know that is in fact a city. So everywhere should have some certain distinctions as to what works for them, just to make sure that, right, everyone can continue to enjoy living their lives. What's the point in owning a home if everything around you is unpleasant?
Right. So pause. Tommy, can you speak on the massive mole cricket epidemic that your Horton is suffering from?
So, there was this one time that we had some folks come by and they aerated all of the front yards for our model homes. And when they do that, they bring along this big roll, right? And it has these giant spikes on it, and their little tubes kind of looks like a medieval torture device. And as it goes, it drops off little bits of dirt, and it looks like perfect little holes, like a little bug has popped out.
Yeah.
And one time we did have someone who came up and they were concerned that there might be giant bugs in their yards. And after some convincing, I was able to convince her that they were not giant bugs. They were just the yard guys.
Yeah.
Perfectly okay.
My mom has those things and they go and they
Yeah, they're ugly.
Patrick, what do you think about this?
Well, I have nothing on the mole crickets, but I do know that every time the government decides to touch anything and try to fix stuff, they have a tendency to mess things up. The real problem is, they say here renters are spending more than 30%. I think it's a lot more than 30%. You know what I'm saying? I think it's way more than that. I mean, when you look at rents, it's tough. And then you talk about if they try to go buy a home, it's even more than that now. I mean, the gap between renting and buying has really become big. So I don't think there's anything that the government can possibly do to fix this. I mean, in my mind, staying out would be better. Leave it alone. But, they can't help themselves. The midterm elections are coming up. So they got to do something. They got to at least say something. You know what I'm saying? If they don't do something, they're at least got to say like they're going to do it. So that's just politics. That's what I really feel like. This is all a political thing. But this is all politicians, not just one side or the other. I'm straight down the middle. And these both parties play these stupid games. It drives me crazy. But anyway.
That's why they keep the government out of the Fed.
Exactly. It remains unclear exactly what kind of emergency measures. See, even this guy named Joe Berner knows what I'm talking about. It remains unclear exactly what kind of emergency measures the administration could take to address housing, or even if using emergency powers in this way is lawful. The best ways the administration could make an impact are by encouraging the building and purchasing of homes. There'd just be a cheerleader, like, yay, go get houses. Berner suggests that finding ways to streamline the permitting process for home builders, which is what Tommy brought up, which I thought was a really good thing, and put fewer restrictions on builders could help boost housing supply, particularly in heavily regulated, high-cost areas like the Northeast. This would have the best long-term impact, but federal government could also juice the housing market in the short run by making it easier to buy a home, he says. This could include offering tax credits to offset closing costs. The similar tax credit was offered to first-time homebuyers during the Obama administration when the economy entered a deep recession. However, the tax credit required an act of Congress, and it's unclear whether the executive branch could take similar steps on its own. So, Tommy, Joe Berner points out
we got a comment. We got a comment.
All right, go ahead.
Joshua said, "Make buying homes great again."
Exactly. Absolutely. Make
I
buying
agree.
homes great again. You know what? If you get Brandon, Tommy, or me, we'll at least make you laugh during the process. So I mean, making it enjoyable.
Duh.
Anyway. Okay, so Tommy, Joel Berner points out that the best long-term fix is streamlining permitting and reducing restrictions. I think you agree with. But the short term, the government could try things like a home buyer tax credit. Do you think the markets need more of a long-term supply solution right now, or short-term demand boost like tax credits?
I think that the tax credit might help, but I mean that's not even really that much of a short-term benefit, right? Because you got to wait until you've actually paid some, right? So people who even buy homes now, right, they're not going to get very much of an advantage on their taxes, and the folks who bought earlier in the year, then they got to wait for it to come around. I guess that would likely be a shorter term than whatever they could otherwise come up with, which I would agree with you. Typically, the government comes in overly heavy-handed and makes things a little bit more difficult than it probably had to be. And if it's worked so far, right, let the market do its thing. So, I mean, the tax credit seems like it's not a terrible idea. At the very least, right, that would give people more of an incentive because, I mean, the market's really quite good now, right? Pricing has certainly leveled off a little bit. The interest rates are not horrific. They were 8% a year ago, right? So, I mean, a lot of things really are actually pretty good. But I think the other uncertainties that are out there are kind of holding things back a bit more.
Exactly. No, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I really have nothing else to say about that. Brandon, what do you think? When you look at these interest rates already, they're down. The interest rates are down.
Yeah.
Prices are coming down.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Because you got too excited when you put your house on the market and like, we are stupid. Like we didn't like have to study and pay for this education. We don't know any better. You do. Like that's what we have to follow you and what you want for your house. So it's kind of like shame on us. But I think Tommy was right. Definitely on the short run kind of thing with the taxes, really going to help the first time home buyers get invested into a home and whatnot, but streamlining the permitting and cutting the restrictions on builders is harder and it takes longer, but it's better in the long term.
Not to mention, you'd have to get into the local municipalities to do that, and they would have to all agree. I mean, you can't just widespread do that anyway. But I think what they're trying to say is that if you bought a home this year, you could probably write off the closing costs on your taxes. But I mean, how would that work with D.R. Horton when they're already paying for your closing costs? So.
Right. Then you lose that incentive, right? It's like, oh, well, I mean, at least we didn't pay up front.
Yeah.
And you get our extra special interest rate, which is always exciting.
Right.
So fun. You're right.
All right.
Okay, so the National Association of Realtors says that it's in close contact with the White House and engaged in outgoing discussions of the particular solutions to expand housing opportunities. If a national emergency is declared, NAR stands ready to work with the administration, Congress, and the state and local leaders of to advance the targeted reforms to increase inventory. We don't need to increase the inventory. We need to improve the affordability. Thank you. And keep homeownership in reach, says Shannon McGon. I had to giggle it. I couldn't say her name right. NAR's
you did a good job.
That was great.
That was great.
NAR's exclusive vice president and chief advocacy officer, the The administration's consideration of the housing emergency underscores the urgency. We've long rise. Supply, consistent with the greatest obstacles to affordability. This whole thing is about affordability. Just so you guys know, it's about affordability, not inventory. So,
Well, the article is about inventory.
yeah, I'm so glad we Googled it. Okay. The administration's consideration for the housing emergency underscores the urgency we've long raised. Supply constraints are the greatest obstacles to affordability, with a national shortage of 4.7 million homes. That's just national. That's not local. Remember, it's national, local. National, local, they're different. So, bold,
Thank you.
coordinated action is needed now to boost housing supply, so more families can achieve the American dream in home ownership and generate the generational wealth.
Yeah.
So with that being said, sir, with the national, I guess I'll go to Tommy first. Yeah. So the National Association of Realtors is saying the biggest issue is supply, with the U.S. short about 4.7 homes. From your perspective, what would you actually take to see bold, coordinated actions that move the needle on supply?
Well, as you mentioned, as far as the affordability part goes, while unfortunately, especially for guys on y'all's end, having lots of extra inventory does mean that the homes are going to sit on the market more. But of course, where there is more supply, right, that means that it's going to bring the demand down, which is going to bring into the affordability, right? So it could possibly bring things back. We at DR Horton are confident that people will, in fact, continue to buy homes into the future. So we don't really slow our progress down. We just kind of continue to build. And the way that our system is set up, and I mean, being here for 6 years now, I mean, it really works, right? We just continue to move forward. We build the homes. People are able to get them, and for the most part, they can get them a little bit more affordable than a lot of the other options that are out there because of the different incentives that many builders, offer. And that's one of the big things as far as that affordability goes towards with a brand new home. With a brand new home, you're not planning to buy new roofs. You're not thinking, when am I going to be replacing the air conditioning? This house is awesome, but that really old almond colored refrigerator got to go. We got to get a new refrigerator. So, with a brand new home, you got a lot of those things that come into it. And then there's the kind of hidden part that most people don't really think about, and that is the energy efficiency that you're going to have with a brand new home, because we are having to go by whatever the newest codes are. You're going to have a little bit lower light bills. I talk to people all the time, and I live in an older home. So, when I say my power bills are $500, everyone's just like, I hate that. I'm like, in your new home, depending on, what you keep your thermostat and everything on, you're certainly going to have that cut significantly. So, while your monthly payments might be slightly higher than they were where you were renting, because you're going to be able to take that out of your utility bills. And then, of course, that's also your home. I've done a property management previously, and one of the worst parts about being in an apartment is that you get to live connected to lots of different people. And when you are so close to other people and they make noise and you ask them not to, you actually get to find out what noise sounds like. So when it is your home and it is not attached to anyone, you don't have to worry about that, right? You are completely separate. So, I mean, there's just so many pluses, that go into it. And, like they said that, they stand ready, if the emergency is declared, just like you guys, I will help anyone buy a home today. I say, let's do it.
It's not wrong. Not wrong. You're not.
No.
What do you think?
Well, you know what? It's funny, Tommy. You just underscored a huge reason why the government wouldn't want people to buy brand new homes, because they're really worried about when the when people buy homes, there's a lot of things that go with it, right? So you got to buy appliances, you got to buy, you got moving people, you got all these different things, and it helps to juice the economy. And you're just talking about if you buy with D.R. Horton, we can take all of those problems away, and then the economy will still be crap. I'm just saying. But no,
$20,000 worth of scares.
The thing is, and this is the truth, I think, and we had talked about. It's not a supply issue. You saw the supply. We showed it to you in Savannah, Pooler, Richmond Hill. I didn't show you the entire area, but I mean, we have houses here to sell. I mean, that's for sure. The affordability problem is the problem. And it's not, it's the difference between, had we taken, I think, and I just kind of want to show you guys this real quick. And I don't think this is new to anybody, right?
No.
But if we bought the houses at that 200, what was it? 2019, right? Let's call it September 2019. Look at those prices, right? 2019. Do you remember those times, Tommy?
It was a good time.
Laura, do you remember those times? Answer in the comments. I remember watching old videos that I did, and it'd be like, buy a brand new D.R. Horton home for $175,000. Oh my God!
Done and done.
So if you paid, like, say you're talking about 365 or 364 is the median home sales price in Savannah, the payment's astronomical. If you did it at the 2019 rates, and I think a lot of experts are saying if there is a pullback, it's going to pull back to that 2019 number because that's before everything went wild. When you look at 2019 at that median home sales price of 214, which we're probably not going to see that again, ever, right? But I'm expecting like a 10 to 15% pullback. But you're talking about $16,000 at current interest rates, $1,693 payment, right? So I really think it's just like I said, and I'll always say this, and the government trying to get involved in opening land and all this crazy stuff that they're talking about. It's not going to fix you can't fix the assets that you have in someone else's possessions. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. Laura said, I sold a 5-bedroom in Pooler, and their payment was $1,300 a month. Whoa.
They got money. That was a down payment. No.
Wow. And I think that video I just watched was with Laura Horowski, as a matter of fact, in Park West. So I was watching some old videos when I was looking at the prices to try to figure out, man, what was it like back then? And I went into the Wayback Machine. I got in the DeLorean, and I was like, look at that. When we're all 20 pounds lighter.
The hot tub time machine.
Like I was. FHA 3.5% down. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right,
On the first day of his current term, President Donald Trump ordered the executive branch to deliver emergency price relief for Americans on housing costs and other key living expenses. It was 2.99 back then. I forgot. Yeah, that was some great times right there. That was some home selling times. In a memorandum to heads of all executive departments and agencies, Trump directed them to take action to lower the cost of housing and expand housing supply, which we don't need to do. I think we already talked about that, as well as to reduce other household expenses and boost employment. The memo ordered executive branch leaders to report back to the White House every 30 days on the progress they didn't make in lowering consumer costs, but it made no reference to specific actions to be taken. Since then, the administration has moved forward with plans to identify federal land that no one wants to live in that could be opened up for affordable housing development, like Alaska, Wyoming, Nevada, where no one wants to go. In the legislative branch, a bill packed with provisions aimed at boosting the housing supply and lowering housing costs has gained bipartisan support in the Senate. That's how you know that's a bad idea. And then passing out of committee unanimously last month, a full Senate vote on a bill that has not yet been scheduled. So, Tommy, with the administration looking to open up federal lands in places no one wants to live and there's no jobs for housing, and Congress coming up with a bipartisan bill, do you think these kinds of measures could realistically bring down costs for buyers in a market like Savannah, or will the impact mostly be felt largely in metro areas?
I don't know that it's going to change anything anywhere. I hate cold weather, so I would never go to the free land in Wyoming. or Alaska. So, I mean, all things are possible, right? And I mean, once like the Field of Dreams, right? You build it and they come, right? You open it up. Alaska has people that live there. They have shows, and they're unique folks out there. Maybe they'd not like to go that far, right? At least they could have a pit stop in Wyoming. It's the new Alaska.
I think the only people on those shows are the only ones that live in Alaska.
There's not many more, for sure. That's for sure.
So, Brandon, what do you think? How do you feel about this whole thing? Opening up lands in the great plains of Alaska where it's negative 45 degrees all the time.
I'm not going to Alaska unless it's on a cruise for like a day.
What if it's $214,000? What if it's a $214,000 house? Huh?
I'm gonna say pass.
That's
Next,
not going to be low enough.
We're gonna get on that. I'm gonna pass on that because I'm not doing the cold. I'm not doing the snow. I don't like it. But I don't like the sweat either. But I'm used to it. But fun fact: the Congressional Research Service of 2023, the total landmass of the United States of America. See, Joshua agrees. Pass. We're not doing
Joshua
that.
said pass. I'm not doing that. Josh is like, no.
So the total land mass is 2.27 billion acres. That's a lot. And the federal government owns how much? Do you know? 640 million acres of land in the United States. And it's mainly Alaska and Idaho, California, Nevada. But that's 28%.
They're going to build you a house on Yosemite.
Yosemite's really pretty, though. I don't know.
Until the volcano explodes and then you end up in space.
We all gotta die some way, somehow, at some point. So,
Might as well
beautiful
die in space.
Yosemite Park with a volcano.
Yeah, look at the bears and stuff.
It's like instant, right? You die like instantly from a volcano.
This is true.
But really,
I
like
don't know
opening
that.
up the land is not going to help. Like, it's only going to have the high cost.
I'd not like to find that out. That sounds terrible.
What if you're wrong?
Could you
Right?
report
What if you're
back?
like, it's supposed to be instant and you're still alive?
I mean, they'll probably build like some of those. You know how they say that the AI needs extra power. They'll probably just build a whole bunch of those in these places, right? And unfortunately, I believe like one man can run the whole thing, though. So it's not creating a lot of jobs, but like one guy, right, would have a job.
Right,
One family.
Maybe well, two guys, right? Because there's a night shift guy and there's a day.
Oh, yeah. Maybe 3 for a day off.
Oh my God. It's true, though. I agree.
This is the government we're talking about.
Debatable. But yeah, I think it's gonna be more beneficial for the places of that nature rather than us. So I really don't feel like it's gonna be like a local thing. It's like, are we gonna, have enough inventory and affordability for our local areas? Really, my concern. I don't care about the rest of them.
I know for someone who works for a company that builds that we're not having a problem with getting the land to build on. If the issue right is opening up the places, right? We don't have to open up the places. We have found plenty of places.
How far does D.R. Horton go? Like north?
We're pretty much everywhere except for the most part, the places that people do not live, like Montana.
Or Vermont.
North and South Dakota. I don't think we build in Alaska. But I know that we build in Oregon, and I believe we do in Washington as well. So, I mean, we're coast to coast. We're most everywhere. But, yeah, it's really kind of that U shape where, again, people live at. Or want to live at, let's say.
Right. Or have to, apparently. So, this one is known as the Road of Housing Act of 2025. You know what road stands for? The Renewing Opportunity in the American Dream.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Donald Trump.
They're going westward.
Right. That's not the best practices to go westward. So this bill would create the best practices framework for the local zoning and land use policies, which could be copied and implemented by local jurisdictions that are dumb enough to do it. So the housing crisis featured prominently in 2024 presidential election. Democratic candidate touted a plan to offer $25,000 in down payment assistance to certain first-time homebuyers. Trump also promised to address the housing crisis on his campaign trail, vowing to slash the regulations of home builders. Do you think he did? And saying it would be he would get the rate mortgages down to 3% or less. Mortgage rates remain at 6.5. Thank you. Since Donald Trump took office in January, leading the president to level bitter recriminations against the Federal Reserve for leaving its policies rates unchanged. How dare he? The Fed is now widely expected to cut its benchmark rates by 1/4 point later this month, which has led mortgage rates down to their lowest levels of the year, averaging 6.65.
Find money.
6.56 last week, according to Freddie Mac. So taking the road to housing again is the renewing opportunities for the American dream. So that act, focusing on zoning best practices and all the campaigns promised that we heard about down payment assistance, regulation cuts, and lower mortgage rates. Tommy, do you think we're finally moving towards a real solution? Or is it still more political talk?
Well, I think it's generally all political talk. I mean, it would be wonderful if the rates would come down, but it does seem like I was chatting with someone earlier, and they mentioned, while that would be nice, what that would certainly do is really halt any of the price corrections that have happened here recently, and likely, of course, at that point, start to drive them back up. Because if all of a sudden the borrowed money is more affordable, obviously, it does make the payments less, but builders and everyone, right? Anyone who's selling anything, if they can sell it for more money, they're certainly going to. And so obviously, as those rates should come down, right, it's going to bump things up even higher. So, I mean, it would be fantastic. And as someone who sells homes and likes to pay for the bills in my house, I like to make some money, but it does seem like that might not be the most responsible thing as someone who is admittedly not an economist.
And sometimes I think I can do, but then I think better not. That's how I felt about that one. What about you, Patrick? What do you think?
I just really believe that if we want a healthy housing market, and I think anybody that sells houses, and I don't. This is going to be a horrible thing to say because I don't think, and it's not going to matter what I say it or not. It's not going to happen. But I mean, I really believe interest rates should be higher. That way we can get. I think the higher the interest rates are, the faster the home prices will come down. And then we get to that normalized level that we need to be at so that we can actually operate in a regular manner. The slower it's like a slow death, right? It's like slowly dying. I feel like, once again, like I said, I really wish the government would stay out of the business of, anything really, because they just don't do a good job. It's like a senator walking in on your brain surgery. It's like, I got it, guys. Don't worry about it. Soak me up, and I'm just going to start operating in your brain. How would you feel? They don't know what they're doing.
What's
not at housing? How long have some of these politicians been in office for like 40 years, right? And who are they protecting? Their own self and their own people. All the people that already have all the money, that's who they're trying to protect from. Let them retire in ease and comfort while we steal the money from us, me, from Tommy, from Brandon, from my kids, from everybody else down the road, while they're trying to, we're going to fix it. You're not fixing I'm about to curse. I'm sorry, but they're not fixing anything. They need to stay the hell out of the markets. Let the market do what it does, because the markets, it's not capitalism if they're manipulating anything. Would you agree, Brandon?
100%. They came in office when soap became an antibacterial. So we get it. They don't understand what washing the hands in soap means.
And I hope these realtors that are going up to the White House talking about fixing these policies, like they're giving them real advice instead of just like, you're the president, that we'll do whatever you fucking want. Like, guys, like, fight for your customers.
You gotta
You know what I
fight.
mean?
Are you all right? Ta-da.
I'm hoping NAR don't just bend a knee. I hope they give some real solutions, and the real solution is tell them stay out of the housing market. I don't know. You got anything else you want to add to all of this, Tommy? I know that you are selling homes over DR Horton. You guys are doing your best to bring down housing prices and the cost of home affordability with 3.99% interest rates in some places, 4.99 in all places. Is that correct?
Correct. And then for the most part, we're going to be able to get most of your closing costs paid as well. So we really, as a company, do aim to always make homes more affordable for the local folks. And that's one thing that I really do enjoy about working here. I used to work for a smaller builder, and I always said to myself, those big national ones, they're a little bit different. And when I first came aboard, it was a big monster, but I found out that, well, we are a giant company. We're all kind of smaller entities. So it really is very localized here. And we try to just make it so that, folks in the area can buy a home, right? Because that's the biggest thing towards being able to, as that article mentioned, build that generational wealth that everyone is after. If you can kind of lock your, mortgage rate in, at the very least, you're not going to have your rent going up every year like most folks. I had a lady just yesterday. Her rent went up $600 a month. Yeah, I mean that is literally, in my opinion, that's them saying we would like you to move out. Actually, right? Because I mean that most people are not going to agree to that giant increase. And amazingly enough, they did, but they're just about to come back to their next lease renewal. And she's like, I don't know what it's going to be, but it could be that again. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of there. So, I mean, that's the uncertainty of continuing to rent. Rents will always, have a good place. And for most folks, it's starting out or you're moving to a new place, you should, rent for, a year, 6 months just to get around town, because the house you visited one weekend and fell in love with, who knows what happens on the weekdays, right? So it's good to give some things a little bit of time if you've never been there before. But, ultimately, and I know that everyone who does what we do and will say now is always the best time to buy. And I will always believe that. Because at least what now is. Might the prices continue to come down? Sure. Might the rates come down? Maybe. Might they go up? Sadly, yes. That's also an option. It's only got two sides on that coin. One is up, one is down. So who knows which way it ends up. But yeah, we try to make it as most affordable as possible, and hopefully things will continue that way into the future.
I will say that when you're talking about you buy a house now, 10 years from now, you will not regret it. I don't care what happens. In 10 years, it's going to be a good investment. Now, if you buy a house and you want to sell in 3 years, then you're stupid. I'm not trying to be, but like, you got to understand what market we're going into, because this is a time where you buy and hold. Then as you go down the line, 10 years from now, boom, now you got the equity back. I don't care what the market did. I don't care what Trump and the administration did or the next administration does. In 10 years, your home is going to be worth more. That's a guarantee. You put that in. You can put that on my grave. Brandon, got anything else to say?
I hope that's
wait for that
on your grave. But
that's my quote of the century right there.
I've got way better ones that you have said, but I won't say them now. But no, I think we wrapped it up.
I think this is awesome, Tommy. I want to say thank you so much for joining us and giving us your 2 cents. I felt like this article needed some other. The Eagles and Cowboys are tied 7-7. We're about to jump off and watch some football. But
Josh, shut up.
That's all right. We're done anyway.
Mom's gonna watch this.
So I just want to say thank you again, Tommy, for coming on. I appreciate your perspective. Brandon, you're the man. I appreciate seeing you every week. And if you guys are watching, please like, share, subscribe. Share this with your family and friends that are curious about what this whole Trump thing means. And I really appreciate you guys watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks.